I started plucking, one or two flowers and putting it at the god. Not even because I really understood the concept of puja, but because for me, that was a way of connecting with my mother and grandmother, right? And remembering home.
So, most of India is still offline. So really being available so customers can like touch and feel the product. And when they see that those flowers are fresh, I think that's the greatest indicator rather than us telling them that we're supplying fresh flowers.
When we were growing up, we would see our parents as like these star entrepreneurs, and our father used to be in the news a lot. And I remember our younger sister, who's like 10 years younger than us, her teacher asked her, what's your thing in life that you want to do? And she said, I want to be in the newspaper more than my dad.
Yeah, it's been like a month, I think, since the episode aired, but it still feels surreal. Yeah, it's crazy. Now, like, a couple of times when we like step out with friends and stuff, a couple of people had recognized us and they're like, you were on that Shark Tank episode. So that still feels a little like strange to us.
So thank you so much Rhea and Yeshoda for being in our show, and I am sure आपको हमारे show का concept पता ही है. We are going to ask you like 6 to 7 questions and then we'll ended up playing a quick rapid fire round जिसके लिए we don't provide any hampers. So I hope you guys are excited for this show.
Yeah, we're super excited. We have some hampers for you guys, so don't worry.
Oh yeah, we can take one of the hampers to our home.
Yeah.
Well, so starting off with my very first question. You have a very impressive, educational background. You are from Washington University and definitely you are from Stanford. And now you have been on TV. You have investors like Aman and Peyush. So did you ever think you will be invited on Wealthy Talks as well?
Honestly, this is the greatest honor. So
Yeah,
thank you.
never thought we'd be this wealthy also in our lives.
Wow, this is the good branding thing you did for us. Thank you so much. Well, but on a serious note, how do you guys feel? Like, हर किसी का कोई ना एक सपना होता है to be on TV and to get that kind of stardom and all. Till now, you would have always felt like a powerful entrepreneur, but now you are more like, star entrepreneurs. So how's that feeling for you?
I don't know if we're stars or anything.
We
yet.
know. So that is right.
Yeah, it's been like a month, I think, since the episode aired, but it
Correct.
still feels surreal. Yeah, it's crazy. Now, like, a couple of times when we like step out with friends and stuff, a couple of people had recognized us and they're like, you were on that Shark Tank episode. So that still feels a little like strange to us.
And
it's
they
never
come
happened.
and say, can I have a selfie with you?
One person did.
Okay.
I was very surprised.
Okay.
It was not expected. Yeah, so that of course feels very surreal and like nothing that we've ever experienced before.
Correct.
But yeah, I don't even know. I think we're still processing it. Even though it's already been a month, it still feels like it's something that's like settling in our heads.
Okay.
One good thing is that God has kept us very busy since the episode has come out. Like we had Sankranti festival and Valentine's and Shivratri. So I feel like he's like, don't let it go to your head, just get into your work directly afterwards. And when we were growing up, we would see our parents as like these star entrepreneurs, and our father used to be in the news a lot. And I remember our younger sister, who's like 10 years younger than us, her teacher asked her, what's your, thing in life that you want to do? And she said, I want to be in the newspaper more than my dad. So, like, I think that's a way, like, we were always held to a really high standard. So this is really nice to like make our parents proud with what we're doing and tell our story.
Yeah, that's really great. But from here, my second question comes, which is, when people go to abroad, sometimes they tend to forget their culture and tradition. But you guys came back from, Stanford and came back from Washington University. And by the work that you are doing, you have definitely, retained our culture and you are spreading, awareness to this younger generation. But what vision kya tha? Like, what was your vision behind starting Hoovu Fresh and how did you actually start it?
So we always say Hoovu is a fresh take on tradition.
Correct.
And I think just like our culture itself is important to everybody, right? It just like shows up in different ways. And most times that disconnect is where people don't understand why they do like a certain type of practice or like find it difficult to do. If they can't get flowers, how do they kind of celebrate with flowers and stuff? So our vision was always that practice of prayer or that 10 minutes in the morning is about that 10 minutes of gratitude and peace for anybody and regardless of how they practice. So how do we bring a fresh take to it, starting with fresh flowers and elevate that, right? So you can have those 10 minutes of gratitude and peace. And regardless of whether you're in India or anywhere else, I think everybody craves that. This is just a great, foundation or framework through which you can get it.
But from this, like, sorry to cut you off, but one question: when you both were studying in abroad, were you praying regularly at that time? And be honest.
I was just going to tell you that actually.
Okay.
So great opening for me. I'll be honest, I'm like not someone who does puja. Today also I don't do puja every day. Like, I'm not someone who does that. But my relationship with religion and God is different, right? Like everyone has their own relationship.
Correct.
But when I was going to college, I remember my mom had bought me like 3 small idols, like a small Ganesha and stuff like that, just to put in my room. She didn't have any expectation that I'm going to do puja and all of that. But she said, you should have it in your room. It'll be nice. It'll make you feel good.
Correct.
And when I was in college, I never thought I'll do puja and all, but every time I used to walk to class and walk back, there used to be this bush of white flowers, and they were just so, and I'm not saying this because I ran a flower business, but they were just so beautiful and they smelled so good. And every time I would see them, I would remember my mom and my grandmom who do puja every day, who would always go to the garden and get the best of the flowers and put it to their God. And so for me, I started plucking, 1 or 2 flowers and putting it at the God. Not even because I really understood the concept of puja, but because for me, that was a way of connecting with my mother and grandmother, right? And remembering home. So I think a lot of people find their way to this in different paths, but it's a beautiful experience. Whether I'm meditating, whatever it is, it's just about finding that center and finding peace and gratitude, whether it's through puja or not.
So, I mean, this was very, very touchy. I really
It's on Facebook, so you can check whether I'm lying or not. I posted it way back.
Well, moving on to my third question. We recently did an interview with one of your investors, which is Mr. Manu Chandra.
Yeah.
And it was really, really nice meeting him. But my question here to you is, when you had this idea of starting up Hoovu Fresh, did you completely bootstrap it, or you thought कि नहीं, let's first get some funding and all, और फिर वहाँ से शुरू करते हैं? So how did you start manage your funds basically to start Hoovu Fresh?
We actually started with like a 10 lakh angel investment. Our uncle had put that in. So initially we thought we would bootstrap, and he was like,
और
I don't
कितना
know.
% equity दिया था आपने उन्हें?
Confidential.
Note then. So, but for him, he was like, I don't know anything about what you want to build as a company, but I trust both of you that you'll figure it out. And that's how he had given us that money. So that meant a lot to us because, just based on a business plan, he gave us that idea, that amount. So we really stretched and dragged it for as long as possible, and like pushed raising for a very long time. So in a way, for us, it was always that, we didn't want that high burn model or just like raising for the sake of raising and like building up valuation multiples. So we were very, very careful on like how we use the money or like when we raise money, made sure like our model was profitable from day one. Because in our head, we were like, funds are great, but if tomorrow nobody gives us funds, that should not be the reason that Hoovu doesn't exist.
Okay. What's your take?
Yeah, I mean, she's the finance person, so she answered it, I think. But I think, even after Shark Tank, we got all these calls from people being like, now you have so much money, you're going to do Google ads, you're going to do these ads. And I said, whether it's my money or Manu's money or my uncle's or whoever's money, so many angel investors that we have, money is money, right? Like that value has to be there. So I think we've been very stingy from day one. And we want to see this product do well, right? Like, if we go fast and, we burn all this money and it doesn't work, tomorrow we don't want anyone to say, oh, puja flowers can't work because Hoovu tried it and it, flunked out.
Yeah.
So we want to make this product work and we want to be the ones to do it. So I think it's important to be wise about money when you do that.
We are pretty sure this is going to work. I mean, you're gonna be
Only pretty sure?
Huh? No, I'm 100% sure. I'm 100% sure this is going to be a unicorn. For sure.
Thank you.
So like my next question to you, आप लोग शार्क टैंक पे फीचर हो चुके हो. आई एम श्योर योर सेल्स पहले would be different and now it would have been different. So what is that difference that you have seen? And plus मैं ये भी जानना चाहता हूँ कि how actively Peyush and Aman are involved with you guys.
So our growth has been front page news. Shark Tank actually put out an ad showing the numbers. So we've seen a huge amount of growth. So 51x is what we've seen, which is huge,
Yeah.
We actually launched our line of agarbattis, dupes and cones just before Shark Tank. So it was like 15 products, 5 different fragrances that we put out. People are loving it. We've seen a great amount of, response come in for that. So that's been really, really exciting. In terms of the involvement from the angels, I think, it's always nice to have people who are smarter than you help you out with your business. We're actually traveling next week to go meet Peyush, so we're super excited for that.
Oh, awesome! So you're
Yeah.
meeting Piyush. Like, if you
Yeah.
meet him, do tell him about this particular interview. As
Will do. Your glass eye from Lenskart?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, done.
Well, like from here, moving on to my next question. I'm sure, like, this is what our show is about. Our show is about managing your personal money. So I'm sure after you came back from abroad, there would have been certain challenges. So how do you manage? How do you both manage your personal finances? आप दोनों कहीं invest करते हो market में या फिर you do the basic things which everyone is doing around?
I think we both actually invest.
Okay.
I'm not like a very active daily like investor, but I have invested in mutual funds. We have a friend that runs a finance page, so
Okay.
he's always encouraging me to invest in certain places and everything. So that's really been helpful. But yeah, that's what I do. Mostly mutual funds and saving.
Since you are the finance person, so I'm sure you would be knowing it. But what about you?
So before I was very, very bad. I used to have a Google sheet where I used to track it.
Okay.
But I read this book called The Psychology of Money.
Yeah.
And I think that really helped me think about money in a different way. That's when I started looking into more options. So of course, mutual funds, FDs, I think those are kind of the safe options which I don't know, I'm not giving advice to anyone, but those were the safe options which I always used to do. I recently started investing in stocks as well.
Okay.
And it's been great. I think from a long-term perspective, obviously it's wealth generation, but also from a short-term perspective, it keeps you engaged with the economy. And, now when I read news, I have a stake in that news because that person's company, So I think that's been great. Like, it's made me smarter in multiple ways.
Cool. So with this, I have a very interesting question for you. Like, you are entrepreneurs, obviously you have so much work to do, but then managing money, managing personal finances could be a little tricky. So would you prefer doing it on your own, or would you want to have a financial advisor who can help you, guide you through? Because why I'm asking you this question is because we at Wealthy have thousands of wealth partners associated with us, and those wealth partners are helping people like you who are literally busy in their work life that they don't really manage their finances on their own.
Absolutely. I know you were going to say the same thing. We ask our parents for a lot of advice, and, our friend Surya, we ask him for advice all the time and stuff. But, everyone's busy with their own lives. Like, having someone who can actually guide you in that journey, I think is invaluable, right? And like you said, I think you are good at, everyone's good at certain things, and you should do those certain things and outsource the rest of your life as much as possible. And wealth, I think, is definitely one of those.
Yeah, completely agree. I took the longest time to even start investing because I was like, okay, I need to do this. I know it's good, but then, when you have to do it yourself, that pressure is higher. But yeah, when you have someone guiding you, I think I would actually spend a lot more time investing if I had like a right source that could kind of help me through it.
Great. So with this, Wealthy has thousands of wealth partners with us. So if you have not checked it out, please check it out now. So my next question to you, it's a fun question, to be very honest. What was your first salary and what did you do with it? And same for you.
Okay.
Why don't you start?
Okay, I'll start. My first salary was in college, actually. I worked in our...
undergraduation or post?
Undergraduation.
Okay.
I worked in our alumni call center and we used to get $8 per hour.
Per hour, $8?
Per hour, $8, yeah. So, yeah, then it was like, 400 rupees.
Okay.
But it was, it was great. The job itself was horrible because I would just be calling alumni and they're like, we don't want to give you money, yelling at me and hanging up.
Okay.
There was not much I could do with it because America is also expensive.
Correct.
But I was very proud. I remember sending a picture of that check to my parents being like, this is my first salary. And they're like, you should spend that time studying. You'll probably earn more later. But yeah. That
Great.
was my
What
first
was yours?
experience.
Yeah. Also in college, I used to work as a teaching assistant in the computer science department.
Teaching assistant in a computer science department.
Yeah. So I did computer science in college. So I got paid a little bit better. I got paid $25 per hour.
Per hour, $25.
Yeah. So like a respectable amount. And it was great. I would eat a sandwich before going to work, and on the way back I would buy one more sandwich, and I was like, it's California, right? So $12. And I was like, evens out, I paid for myself today. But yeah, it was a huge, I think anytime you earn my first paid check, honestly, wasn't even from this job. I did an article and I got paid for that article.
Okay.
I'd won some award or something, and it was I think $50, and I was like, I'm rich,
Okay.
I made it. That check.
This is how we know how they bootstrap their
Yeah, so that was a great feeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question for you, interesting one. Since you both are sister entrepreneurs, And I am sure you would be discussing a lot of business, dhanda, pura kaam. But how do you talk about your personal times, wo personal space, personal wala jo sisterhood hota hai? How do you manage that?
Biggest thing for us that helps us manage is our younger sister. So a lot of people don't know this, but we have a younger sister who's much younger. She's 12 years younger than me. So she really holds us in check. Whenever we talk about work too much or like at dinners and stuff, she like bans us from using the word Hoovu or talking about work. So she reminds us how important it is to have a balance outside of work.
Okay.
Yeah. It's definitely a struggle. Like it's easy for us to fall into that, and you feel like you're constantly with each other, right? Because the whole day you're hanging out, but you're actually not hanging out, you're working together. So I think we like have made a conscious choice, and sometimes we're not so good at it, sometimes we're better at it, to like have sister time as well. Like I remember once after a meeting, we were like, should we go get dinner just together? And we were like, yeah, why not? We're sisters. So like just both like we are partners in crime, right? So but we're also sisters, and I think that's always nice when we can carve out time for it. I think the good thing about having a sister is also that even when you don't carve out time for them, you don't lose that relationship. So that's also good. Yeah.
Great. So like Abhi, Hoovu Fresh is now a good name. Like it's turning into a good brand.
Yeah.
But we would want to know that what is your go-to market strategy? Like what are the channels that you have been using, and how is it helping you, or how is it help other D2C brands as well for that sense?
Yeah. So we started out as a D2C brand actually. Right. So we used to do end-to-end subscriptions ourselves. And then we pivoted to online platforms. So your Big Basket, Zepto, Swiggy, pretty much name it, Milk Basket, any of them were available now. So that's been the largest driver of growth for us, being available on these channels. Now we're making a return to D2C. So with our agarbattis, dupes and cones, you can actually buy them on our website, unlike our flowers. So it's kind of cool for us, like 2 years later, going back to that D2C channel, seeing how much it's changed. I remember when we used to do it, people used to, like 5-6 days delivery was very good. Today, customers are like next day delivery, other than calling you, So it's been a great learning in terms of channel distribution. In terms of online marketing and things like that, we do a lot of community building because like you were saying, a lot of people don't have a connect with this tradition anymore, right? They've disconnected. So WhatsApp works really well for us, Instagram, YouTube, just engaging people and telling them the significance behind different things, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Rhea has more or less
modern trade.
Yeah, but we're also looking at modern trade as like a huge channel of growth. So we're already present in Ratnadeep stores, in Heiko, and all of these different Lulu, hypermarket and stuff like that. So, most of India is still offline. So really being available so customers can like touch and feel the product. And when they see that those flowers are fresh, I think that's the greatest indicator rather than us telling them that we're supplying fresh flowers. Right now we're in 3 cities, so Bangalore, Hyderabad and Mumbai. Our flowers are available on these online platforms like Swiggy, Big Basket, Milk Basket, and then offline with Ratnadeep and Heiko.
Okay guys, if you have not ordered fresh flowers, agarbattis, cones and
Dupe sticks.
Yeah. Please do order it today. After watching this, you will.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to my very last question to you, और उसके बाद we are going to play a quick rapid fire round, जिसको हम कहते हैं wealthy fun o'clock. So my last question to you is, as entrepreneurs, how does your day look like? मतलब कैसे शुरू होता है और कैसे खत्म होता है?
I can start. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're in the perishable space, right? So we're on the clock basically 24/7. So in the morning, our procurement happens super early. We have a great team that takes care of everything, but I just kind of check in with them in the morning, see that everything is in
How
place.
early is it? 4 a.m., 5 a.m.?
It used to be 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Now it's 7 a.m. So I think work-life balance has improved slightly. I do that and then wake up then. I like to work out in the morning on a productive day, not all days. And then make it to the office by around 9:30, 10.
Okay.
I'm an early to bed kind of person. So by post like 7 p.m. my brain stops working. So then it's just like relaxing with family and friends, going to sleep early.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm really lucky that I have Yeshoda as my co-founder and she's a morning person because I'm absolutely not. And I picked the wrong industry to be in. So I wake up 9 o'clock, which is very late.
You wake up only at 9 o'clock?
Yeah, I wake up only at 9 o'clock. Our office starts at 10:30.
Okay.
So, so whatever. I go to the office in the morning. I like to start my day by rewriting my to-do list every day. I think that helps me prioritize things. I try to keep meetings to a minimum because I like to have deep time to work whenever possible. We wrap up around like 7 p.m. usually. That's when office ends. I like to read a lot. So usually I try to read in the evenings. I don't watch a lot of TV and stuff like that. and then hanging out with our family and friends, I think. And I'm a night person, so I sleep at like 1, 2 o'clock.
So you're working till 1 or 2? Like she said ki after 7 p.m. her brain stops working.
I don't think I should be answering that question. I have worked till 1 or 2 once or twice. I won't tell you how often in the week that I do that. Yeah.
Cool. So जैसा कि मैंने आपको बोला था, we are going to play a rapid fire round. So in this first 3 questions, you have to point out at each other who does this the more. So my first question is, who is more likely to get late to work? I know the answer, but okay.
That's really rude.
I already knew it, but okay. The second question is, this I don't know, so this will be interesting to know. Who is more likely to spend more money? You. Okay. Great. But you are a finance person, right?
Well, I travel a lot, so I think that's where my money goes.
She does. I think it's a good thing. She never overspends. It's because I'm extremely. They call me.
She doesn't spend at all.
Yeah.
She lives a very bare minimum life. So
Yeah, like I'm like penny pound. What is it? Penny wise, pound foolish. But Yeshoda like spends like 100%. I think like saves more than the other jobs.
I don't know about all that. I think it's being nice.
Great. The third question is, who is more likely to hang out, to other places and go out? Okay, it's you.
Yeah.
Great.
That's where my money goes.
Now we know where your money goes. So now we have 3 questions, and in these 3 questions, both of you will answer individually. My first question is to Rhea, you, which is, if you could have some alternate professions apart from being an entrepreneur, what would you choose?
I really wanted to be a computational journalist, like using computer science to do journalism. Probably that.
Okay, and Rhea? Oh, sorry, Yeshoda.
I'd probably go into some sort of social impact work.
Okay.
Just be in that social impact space.
Great. Second question, if you could meet someone from history, what would you like to meet? Whom would you like to meet? Sorry.
I'll start. Okay, this is very random, but Bismarck, who was a German chancellor during one of the world wars. I remember, I'm like a huge history buff, so you look so shocked by my answer.
Sorry.
But yeah, I feel like, this is something I remember as like a middle schooler studying history and being like, oh my god, like he was such a strategy genius, I would always want to meet him.
Okay. Rhea, please say something which
Please, mine is easy. I'm reading Persuasion by Jane Austen.
Okay.
I feel like I love Jane Austen. I would love to have met her.
ये भी मुझे नहीं पता था. Well, the very, very last question, and after this, sadly, I'm sure आपको बुरा लग रहा होगा because I will have to leave. But my last question would be, what is that one advice that you would give to an aspiring entrepreneur?
I always say this, but we say it together actually, but like starting is half the journey is one thing I would always say. Like just get started, don't overthink it. You can always, reiterate on whatever you want to do. But yeah, that I think is the greatest advice I got, and that's what I would want to pass on.
Yeah.
Very similar, and I think one more thing is like always believe in yourself. Like there will always be challenges, there will be theses that you're 100% set on, and that will change as well. Don't be afraid to kind of confront new information when it comes to you, and trust yourself. Like whatever problems will come, you'll figure it out. Like just trust yourself to do that.
First of all, thank you so much once again. It was really, really awesome. मतलब मैंने इतना अच्छा एपिसोड अभी तक कहीं शूट नहीं किया है.
Not even with Manu.
No. Okay, don't do that. Yeah, I have. But this was personally my favorite one, I would say. But,
आपका rapid fire.
हाँ, मेरा rapid fire हो गया यहाँ पे. But thank you so much once again for giving us time, and you are definitely building a great D2C brand. And after watching you guys on Shark Tank, कुछ किया नहीं किया, Hoovu से फूल जरूर मंगा लिया.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.